What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the Neighborhood Podcast. One of the hosts of the podcast. My name is Kyle Dabro. So, in this video, we're going to touch on the Henry Ruggs situation that has been currently ongoing for the last day or so. You guys haven't heard of what happened to Henry Ruggs. He was in a situation, I believe, early Monday morning where he got into a car crash around like 3:30, 3:40 on Monday morning, and he ended up killing somebody in the process of that while being under the influence of alcohol. And like I said, it's been an ongoing story, and we're hearing more details as they come out. And some of the details are that he was traveling at a rate of speed of over 150 miles an hour when he got into this car crash. And if you guys have seen some of the videos that have surfaced on social media in regards to this crash, I mean, it is not a pretty sight. There's a video that someone recorded where it pictures Henry Ruggs and the passenger that he was with on the side of the road, watching this car just being absolutely engulfed in flames, with presumably who was ever in that car already deceased at that moment in time. Because some people may have been thinking that why is Henry Ruggs not trying to help out that person that's in the car burning alive, but it may have already gotten to the point where that person's already dead and there's nothing that Henry Ruggs and the passenger that he was with can do anymore at that point. After that had taken place, the events just kind of rolled throughout the day, and he is no longer a member of the Las Vegas Raiders. They cut ties with him yesterday, and the situation with Henry Ruggs just continues to devolve at this point. He was booked into a detention center in the Las Vegas area yesterday, where he is facing two felony charges. One of the charges is DUI that resulted in death, and the other one is reckless driving. Both of those felony counts do carry a maximum prison sentence, where on the DUI charge, he could potentially face up to 20 years in prison. And the other one with the reckless driving, he would face somewhere in between 1 to 6 years, and six would be the maximum on that reckless driving charge. And when I look at this situation with Henry Ruggs, it's just a tragic story from beginning to end. There's no other way to say it. But it goes without saying, this entire situation was entirely avoidable. When Henry Ruggs was tested on the side of the road, or once he got to jail where he got his mugshot, he got tested twice above the legal limit for alcohol. And it kind of goes without saying that why? What's the point of being in a situation where you know you're clearly inebriated and you get behind the wheel and you're traveling at such high rates of speed with no care in the world? I mean, at that point, when you're traveling 150 miles an hour down the road, basically tells me that he had no sense of care in the world. And I imagine that he didn't intend to kill anybody traveling at that rate of speed, but you're just throwing so much caution into the wind. It's like something is just bound to happen in a bad way if you're clearly inebriated and you're driving at 150 miles an hour down a road. It's not even a highway. This is like maybe like a 2 or 3 lane road, not even near the highway. I'm just, I'm really perplexed at just what was going through his head. Obviously, it wasn't the clearest intentions or the clearest thought making process behind that, but it's just, he just threw away not only his football career, he's going to throw away his life, at least for the foreseeable future. I'm not saying that he's going to go to prison for the rest of his life, but for God's sakes, I'm like, he's 22 years old. He's playing on a professional football team with the Vegas Raiders. You know, I'd like to think that the guy's living a pretty good life. And in one moment, it's gone. It's over with. And he's going to have to live with this for the rest of his life. And it's just a situation that's tragic. You obviously feel nothing but sympathy, but for the family whose son or daughter. I haven't heard whether or not that it was a man or a woman who died in it yet, but just you feel just tremendous sorrow for the family that's just in the grieving process right now. This was an entirely this was a situation where it could have been entirely avoided, and human life was lost in this tragedy. But when you're traveling 150 miles an hour down the road, you're just expecting something bad to happen. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. I mean, unfortunately, I don't really know what to say. This is a situation where Henry Ruggs is living a very good life, and he took somebody's life in a split second with just his poor decision making. I can't believe that, just throw away an opportunity like that. And I think it's going to be one that he's going to be thinking about for a very long time. And, I guess if there's one thing to take away from this, is that this is kind of, I guess this is kind of a good motivator, or a good story that, people can use as like, look, this is what happens, or this is what could happen when you get behind the wheel and you think, nah, I'll be all right. Like, I'm feeling good enough to drive. Like, we don't have to go that far home. It's like, I can make this. Not worth it. Just call an Uber. Call a taxi. Hell, call one of your teammates, for God's sakes. It's such more important to focus on getting home safe rather than risking it all by doing something like this, where Henry Ruggs was just irresponsible, and incredibly irresponsible, traveling at that high rate of speed, being that inebriated. This is a situation that should have never happened, but this is what happens when you make poor decisions, and human life was lost in the process. And that is just, it's just a tough situation from beginning to end. I kind of don't really want to keep on going with this story. It's really just kind of devastating when you really kind of dive into the details. And I know there's going to be some more details that will probably emerge as this story unfolds as time goes on. But yeah, I mean, when I look at Henry Ruggs, I literally, the only thing I could think of is like, what was the point? Like, I can't really see one. And I imagine that he's going to be probably thinking about this for a very long time, because I mean, the guy, from an athletic perspective, I mean, the guy is just as talented as can be, and it's over. I'm not saying that the guy should go to prison for the rest of his life, but just incredibly reckless and just incredibly irresponsible, when essentially you have a great life and now it's gone. And it's just, I don't want to say it's unfortunate for the guy, because I mean, the guy had control of the situation until, he got drunk and he got behind the wheel, then ended up killing somebody. It's like, I don't have a lot of sympathy for the guy, but I just feel incredible sorrow for the people that really suffered from this, as far as the victim and the victim's family. You have to feel tremendous sorrow for them. It's just tragic. There's no other way to say it. But with that said, you guys, that'll wrap it up for me. If you guys want to support the channel in any way, shape, or form, hit that subscribe button below. Any sort of support that we can get for the channel, Kevin and I definitely appreciate it. Thank you guys for tuning in to watch the video. See you guys later.